Good morning. My name is Raquel. You're watching my podcast. Today is the 3rd of April, Sunday, and I'm joined by my dog William today. I'm pretty sure one or both of them will be leaving soon. Rusty's actually on top of the table, and Dakota's on my lap, enjoying the view out the window. I was going to start by showing off what I'm wearing, but that's going to be impossible right now. Dakota's leaving. She said her hellos. Now she's leaving. Okay, so maybe I can show you. This is RGO by Joji Locatelli, or Joji Locatelli. I knit this in Ravelry lace in the color Cypress, which is a green color. Not really showing up too well on the screen, but it's green. It's not black. And yeah, I like it a lot. It's nice, lightweight. I used less than 3 skeins for the whole jacket, and I could have made a size smaller actually. I did swatch, but I think after swatching and between swatching and starting the project, I might have changed needles and used the wrong needle size, and I should have gone down a size, a dress size. So let me try to show you the back, and I'll remove Rusty from the table so you can see the back better. Okay, so let's see, actually like this, nice lace back. It's got these little things here are little nuts, so it's like little leaves and berries kind of thing. Oh, and the buttons, let's see if you can see those closer up. They're washing out completely. There you go. They're from Textile Gardens in the UK. And actually, Vero from the Along the Lanes podcast, she went to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and the Textile Gardens was one of the stalls that was at the festival, and she did a bit of filming. So go check out her latest podcast, and you can see a bit of the stall she passes by, and a whole bunch of buttons, lots and lots of and lots of buttons. Yeah, I really like these. They're I think, yeah, they're shell buttons that have been painted. I got them some years ago, and I thought they would go nicely with this cardigan. Yeah, behind me is another cardigan I made. It's Kriya by Isolde Teague, and I used the Baby Merino by Drops, which I bought at Ballerstone in Coimbra. And I used, let's see, I used 8 balls of this grey. And it's actually 2 color lots, but you can't see any difference at all. I bought them at 2 different times. And yeah, because it's not a solid, it's like a tonal, you can't notice any difference at all between the 2 lots. And I don't think I remember to, alternate skeins at the time. So what I did, there's pockets in here, and I could have done the pockets in the same color, but I decided I wouldn't have had enough yarn to do the pockets in the same color. So I had one skein of this blue, baby blue color. So I thought, well, I'll use that for the pockets. And then I decided to add a little edging to finish off the jacket. So I use the blue all the way around in a single crochet all the way around, and then I'll have to take this down to show you better. Let's take it off the hanger as well. I decided to add, so I did edging on the sleeves and all the way around the neckline, the front, and as you can see, the pockets. And then what I did, because I like the effect of, I mean, this is a completely seamless cardigan knit from the top down, but I like the effect of appearing that there is a seam. So I took the blue, and with my crochet hook I just went down all the way down the sleeves and down the side of the cardigan to make it look as if there was a seam, and that I seamed it up in the blue. The buttons are bone, all different sizes, and they're actually quite lightweight. They're not too heavy, and these came from a friend who gave them to me some time ago. So yeah, so this is the Kriya cardigan from Isolde Teague, and it's I think you can buy it as a separate pattern on Ravelry, but it's from the Little Red in the City book, and I got this at Knit Nation in 2011 in London, and Isolde was there and she signed it for me. So here, I have a signed copy. Now there's a whole bunch of patterns in this book that I want to make, I just haven't gotten around to them, and I can't tell you what size I knit that cardigan because I made it to fit me. So and that's a great thing about this book, is she has a lot. If you see here, there's a table with a whole bunch of sizes, and then the number of stitches you have to cast on. So you can easily decide you want to do, for instance, you have like a 40-inch bust, but your shoulders are narrower, or you have like a thinner arms. You can just jump from one size to the other and make the cardigan fit you completely, which is great. I mean, it's fantastic. So that's what I did with the Kriya. I didn't write down what I did, which sizes I knit, so but next time I'll be sure to do that, because it's handy to know for in the future, because if I want to recreate this cardigan now, I have no idea. I'm gonna have to take measurements all over again. But yeah, so this is a really interesting knit. You start with the shoulders, and then you do short row shaping at the back. So you start with this section here of the shoulders. You do one side, you cut the yarn, you do the other side, and then you cast on stitches for the neckline, obviously, and you start to short row shaping. And when you finish the short row shaping, that's when you start working back and forth on the front as well. So you, I think at one point you pick up stitches here for the sleeve, you knit across the front, and then you start going back and forth. So it's like it's completely seamless. It's a really fun knit, and you can easily adjust the sleeve size. These are not quite full length. I think they're also not 3/4 lengths like this. Maybe more bracelet length probably. And this is a really nice warm cardigan. I wore this quite a lot over this winter. So yeah, so that's the item I'm wearing, and that's another finished item I have that I wanted to show off. So yeah, then we have finished objects. Only one pair of socks. I managed to complete 7 pairs of socks throughout the month of March. So here are my finished pair of socks. And I finished these really on the 31st, around 10 at night or so. So I have a really bad photo up on Ravelry, which I'll be taking photos later today to put up on my project page. And these were knit in, you can see the colors better there, in Favel by Drops on 2.5 millimeters, which is a US 1.5, and the colorway is 651 Sand. And I did, oh, these are the Neville socks by Erica Luder, free fashion on Ravelry, and I did 2.5 repeats of the pattern before starting the heel, and I just did the heel, the regular heel that was in the pattern, and then I did, including the gusset decreases, I did 65 rows before doing the toe decreases. And actually that's when before I started like knitting a whole bunch of socks, I decided to see how many rows I needed for the socks to fit my foot properly. So what I've done, this was like last year, towards the end of last year, what I did was I created my own vanilla socks, if you want to call them like that, using 2 millimeters, 2.25 millimeters, and the 2.5 millimeters, so that I know how many rows, the length of the foot that I need, whether I'm doing them cuff down or toe up, and the length in height. And I always do 20 rows for the ribbing because I like that. This one's a 2x2 ribbing. I normally like to do the 1x1 twisted rib. And yeah, I mean, sometimes I get them to match up exact lengths. These ones happen to not match up, but that's okay. So yeah, I knit 7 pairs, and here are 6 of the second pair I knit. I've been wearing them, so they're not fit to show you right now. They need to be washed. So yeah, I'm very pleased with having completed 7 pairs. There was one person in the group, and here I'm talking about the Donna Maria group on Ravelry. One person completed 10 pairs of socks. I think there was another one, someone completed 9 pairs of socks, and I think there was someone who completed 8 pairs of socks. So there's like a lot of people actually managed to knit quite a lot of socks, and then there were a whole bunch of people that just knit 1 or 2 pairs, which is fine. The idea is to have fun while participating, and that's what I did. But I was really lucky enough to win a prize, which was a pattern by Clarice Gomes, who's a Portuguese designer, and she has some really lovely patterns like shawls and cows, and she has a pair of socks as well, which is a freebie. And I decided I chose the Luna shawl, which is a lovely crescent shaped shawl with stockinets on the sides, and then lace in the middle, and then it finishes off completely in the lace. But I won't be starting that just yet because I have another shawl to finish off. So, talking about shawl to finish, let's go to works in progress. I finished my socks on Thursday the 31st, and then I already found out about a knit along that I was joining, but I'll talk about that later. So I decided to pick up some of my current works in progress that I have on the needles already. One of them was the Custom Triangle by Lee Meredith, which is this. Wait, needle stuck in there. This thing. It looks really small, but it's gonna block out huge, really. I'm knitting this with RGO sock on, I think it's 5mm, US 8. I'm not sure anymore. And this colorway is the Solace. And then the next section, what I did was I had several rows. I already done several rows of the second section of the shawl, but I forgot to do the increases, so I had to rip it all out. So next section is going to be garter in 2 colors, and I'll be continue to use the Solace, and I'm going to be joining this one, this color here, there, which is the Alco Seal, and then in the cardigan out of this, which I'll show in a future episode. So yeah, I'm going to be using these two to stripe. And then the third section, I'll cut the Solace, and I'll add this one, see, which is the Persia colorway. So it'll be these two together. So yeah, the only thing I did there was rip out the rows I'd done which were wrong, but I'll be working on this, so maybe next week I'll have some progress to show. Now I can knit on other things other than socks. So yeah, that's the first project that I picked up again and did something with. Then let's put it to the side over there. Then the other one was the baby blanket I'm knitting, which I believe I showed last week as well. And I actually I do have some progress on this. Not much, but there was some progress. Because I was about halfway through this blue stripe, I finished it, and I started another yellow section again. After this yellow section, I'm going to have to see, because it is more or less halfway after this yellow section. I'll see how long it is to see if I will add the remaining colors that I have to add, or maybe not add all of them, but we'll see. Yeah, so I'll be working on this. Well, actually, I won't be working on this because I've got no needles on here, and I'll tell you why in a moment, because that's part of kind of stash enhancement and the next section I'm going to be doing. This is a pattern I just, looked at several chevron patterns and came up with one that I preferred. So no actual pattern that I'm following. So yeah. What else? I did start a new project. Not socks. I will be knitting more socks because there's a couple more Harry Potter themed socks that I want to knit, and I still have till the end of April to knit them for Katie's cow from Inside number 23. So yeah, knit-alongs. There's a whole bunch of knit-alongs going on, but Tricot da Cinco, that's a shop in Lisboa. They always host a knit-along on a monthly basis, and this month they're doing the Eddie or Edie sweater by Isabel Kramer, and I really like the sweater, but I can't have 2 sweaters or 3 sweaters on needles at the same time, so I already decided to join another cow. But yeah, if you want, go check it out. Tricot da Cinco on Ravelry. They have a Facebook page. I'll add all the links in the show notes, maybe below here. Then the other cow that I'm joining is being hosted by Ovelha Negra, which is a knitting shop here in Porto, which I've talked about before. And she's doing a double knit-along this month. Actually, it's going to be for 2 months. She's doing a shawl by Jorge Locatelli, which is the Jujui, which was in It's not from the interpretations. It's I'm sorry. This is like just before there was like very bad lighting. Now there's too much lighting. Sorry. It's from the. I'm not sure from. I'll add it in the show notes. It's a lovely shawl as well. And it's in 3 colors. Starts with a garter section, goes on to lace, and I believe finishes again in garter. I do want to knit the shawl, but I don't think I'll be knitting it for this knit along. I'll knit it later on. The one I decided to knit was the Romping Around sweater by La Maison Ravelry, which is this sweater. You can't see me at all. Let's see here. So, I won't be using these colors. I was at Ovelha Negra yesterday to choose my colors, and so this is kind of works in progress and stash enhancements. And even though the cowl only starts on the 11th of April, I couldn't resist casting on yesterday. I just had to cast on. So I did my gauge swatch, and I went up a needle size because I already knew that having knit the split top that I needed to go up at least 1 needle size. So that's what I did. The pattern calls for a 4mm, which is a US 6. I went up to 4.5mm, which is a US 7, and I did the stockinette section, and then I did the pattern section because the whole body is got a textured section. So that's this section here, and I was way off. I think the pattern calls, actually I can see what the pattern calls for. The pattern calls for 21.5 stitches in stockinette and 20 stitches per 4 inches 10 centimeters in the pattern section on 4mm. And on 4.5mm I had 23.5 stitches on the stockinette, so that's like 2 stitches way too many. And on here I also had 2 stitches too many, so I had like 22 stitches. So I went up to 5mm, which is a US 8. And I still had too many stitches, so I went up to 5.5mm. And that was spot on. But I don't like the fabric. It's way too, you can see, it's way too see-through. I actually quite like this fabric here from the 4.5s, but I have to do way too many calculations, so I was not going to do that. So what I've done is I've cast on with the 5mm, which is a fabric I like. It's not too see-through, but it's okay. Oh, and I'll get to the yarn in a minute. So this is my gauge swatch, and I'll keep this until I finish the sweater, and then I'll unravel it. So yeah, I'm gonna do a size. I'm gonna do my size, and then if I can adjust it. So if I see that it's too tight, I'll start going to the size above. And if it's too loose, then I'll adjust it to the size below. So yeah, yarn I'm using. This calls for DK yarn. She used Malabrigo Arroyo. Sorry, I'm looking down at the pattern because I don't know this off by heart. I'm using Olivia by Ovelha Negra. I'm using it held double. Double. Okay, this is really weird. It was pouring down with rain a second ago and really dark, and now the sun's out. So I'm sorry about the lighting. I can't really do anything about it. Okay, so colors that I'm going to be using. I'm using 2 different colors for the main body. That's too bright. I'm sorry. The sun is now shining. It's like reflecting off the white building on the other side of the road. So I hope you can see these colors properly. I'm using 2 colors. These 2 colors for the main body. And let me see. I wrote this down. This one. Okay. This is a bluish purpley color. This is a number 23 denim. And then we have this one, which is blue as well. And this is number 75 Harbor. So I'm got these 2 together for the body, which is the brown section. For the what she has here as white, I'm using this color, which is like a heather, like a purple color, and that's number 15. And I don't know the name of this one. So really, I just need 1 skein for this, so I'm just gonna use a double. Then her blue sleeves, and there, I'm gonna be using, again, 2 colors together. And I'm going to be using this one, this is number 79, which is Kingfisher, and this one, which is number 38, Robin's Egg. So I'll be using these 2 colors held double for the sleeves. And supposedly this is enough for both sleeves, but I might I don't know, I might get another skein, another cake each, just to be sure. I can always return it if I don't use it. But I'd rather have too much than too little, and then not have the colors available anymore. So, like I said, I can resist starting. And I've gotten up to, this is the back section in the texture. You can actually see the texture quite well. And let's see, because both colors are pretty dark, I don't know if you can see the 2 colors. You can, just slightly. You can see that there's 2 colors in there. So this is the back section up to armhole shaping. So I'm still going to enter the cowl. I started it early. I'm not the only one who started early. There's several other people who've already started theirs as well. Especially the people doing the shawls. I believe some of them have started already. So yeah, I'm using the Olivia yarn by Ovelio Negro. This is the Rumbling Around by Isabel Kramer. No, sorry. Rumbling Around by La Maison of Hilly. And yeah, that was it. So Stash Enhancement was the yarn I bought, because I didn't have these colors in my stash, and the colors I did have, I didn't have the quantity, and also don't have enough DK in my stash for a sweater. So yeah, I've done my swatching, which should work. And like I said, I will be taking careful notes of which size I'm knitting, because I am changing sizes. So I'm going to be knitting the large, which is a 40-inch bust. I might have to go up to 43-inch or go down to 37-inch. We'll see. Because even on 5 millimeters. This is like, it's supposed to fall right on your shoulders, and this is already way larger than my shoulders. So I might have to go down to the medium. But we'll see. I want to get past this armhole shaping and then do the front section, and after that I'll try it on when I join and see if that's if it's too wide. I'll go down a size, or I won't do as many increases for the size I'm knitting. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this week. I forgot to say thank you to everyone who watched the previous episodes, who left comments. So thank you. You can leave comments here on YouTube, send me a private message on Ravelry, leave messages on the group. I've created a thread for questions. If you want to ask me anything, ask me anything. Knitting related, non-knitting related. I might answer them here on the podcast, or I will definitely answer on the thread. I've had one person contact me regarding needle preferences by email. Yeah, other people PMing me on Ravelry. It's no problem. I don't mind answering questions. Just let me know what you need. If you need pattern suggestions, someone on the Ravelry thread asked me, she's a beginner and she'd like to start knitting a sweater or a cardigan, and she asked me what patterns I'd suggest. I suggested the harvest and the flax, either the original flax using DK weight or the flax light by Tin Can Nets, as they're very simple patterns to follow. Tin Can Nets has great simple to follow patterns, a whole range of sizes. So again, it's one of those that you can start with one size and modify as you go along to another size if necessary. I knit the harvest cardigan, which I turned into a sweater, which I wore, I believe it was in episode 3 when I was at my parents' house, and I structured and I used DK. It wasn't even worsted yarn, which the pattern called for. I used a DK, which worked out fine. Yeah, my tension, the way I knit really changes the tension. If I'd continued knitting English style, I think I'd pretty much meet the gauge with the yarn that patterns call for. Knitting Portuguese style, my gauge, my tension is way tighter, so either I have to use other yarn or use the yarn specified in the pattern and go up several needle sizes, which doesn't necessarily give me the fabric I like. So again, that's why with this one I'm knitting it on 5 millimeters, which gave me a fabric I liked, even though the tension isn't quite what the pattern calls for. But I know that, so I'll just have to keep taking measurements and see how it fits. Surprisingly enough, the row gauge is pretty spot on, because this first section I have to knit 36 rows. I still have to do 4 more rows. I have to knit 36 rows before starting the armhole shaping, and it calls for 11 centimeters or 4.5 inches, and I'm at 4 inches now, so 10 centimeters, and I still have 4 more rows to do, and I've measured it, and that'll get me exactly spot on in terms of row gauge. It's just a stitch count that's off. But yeah, I'll modify it, and I'll be sure to take proper notes so that I can recreate the sweater if I want to. So yeah, I think that was, yeah, that really is it. My dogs are fast asleep. I took, just before starting to podcast, I took them out for a walk. Like I said, it's a really weird day today. It's raining one moment, sun shining the next, and I'd gone out earlier this morning with them and we got caught in the downpour, so we all got wet. They have little jackets. Actually, I took some photos yesterday of their new little rain jackets that my mom made from an old raincoat of mine. I didn't use it. It didn't fit right. I didn't feel comfortable in it. Also, it had a really deep V-neck and no buttons to close it up at the top. So, you know, if it's raining, you don't want to get wet, right? So I was constantly closing it up, putting the shawl up. It was a Burberry inspired raincoat. It wasn't a Burberry one. It was like, I bought it somewhere else. I think I actually bought it at H&M in Holland when I was still living there. But yeah, it didn't do its work as a raincoat, let's put it that way. I liked the length. It was like knee length, so you didn't get, you know, most of my rain jackets, the lightweight ones, are waist length, and this one was a knee length one. So I liked the length, I just didn't like the fit in the shoulders, and it didn't close all the way to my neck. So I was constantly crossing the collar over to the side, but I'd need like a scarf around it to tie it off, or I need to pin a button on there. But as I didn't really like the fit anyway, I gave it to my mom and I said, look, my dogs need new raincoats. Could you please make some new raincoats? Because on days like this, or on some other days we've had that it's raining non-stop, I go outside with them, and other than me getting soaking wet, the dogs get soaking wet, and then you have the wet dog smell, and I don't like that. So I have little jackets for them to wear, but going outside one time and them getting soaking wet, their jackets get soaking wet, completely soaked through, and 2 hours later Dakota wants to go outside again, and 2 hours is not enough for the jacket to dry off. So I need to have like at least 2 or 3 jackets so that I can alternate jackets. And the one set of jackets that I had for them was like so old that they were ripping apart and letting the rain through, so they really did need new jackets. So I took some photos yesterday before we went out, and I'll see if I can insert them at the end so you can see. Rusty doesn't look too happy. Dakota lets me put the jacket on straight away before we go out the door. Rusty runs away and doesn't let me. I usually only get to put the jacket on him when we're in the elevator going down to the ground floor. And yeah, I took a photo of him sitting on the table, and I'll insert it. You can see his face. He does not look happy at all. At all. But yeah, so okay, that's really it. Thank you for watching. I'll have show notes up later today, and I'll link everything that I mentioned. And yeah, if you want to leave comments here, either on YouTube, on Ravelry, or PM me like I mentioned. And have a great week, and see you next week. Bye bye.